All right, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Zay coming out to another video, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about why artists don't make good albums anymore, and not only just that, but they make good singles, but they don't make good albums. To be specific, yo, it's been something that I've been kind of pondering for a little minute, and this video is kind of inspired by DJ Academics.
And this is exactly what I've been trying to tell y'all. Chat, we are now in the singles era of music. People, unless you really love an artist and you think they're top tier, we don't give a fuck about the album. Give us a slapper. At this point, people are only dropping albums to fulfill their requirements. Because in reality, when people's albums get dropped, it looks worse than the singles being dropped.
Because he be talking facts, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Especially like, bro, like especially sometimes when he be getting on his drunken rage, bro. When he gets on his drunken rage like form, bro, like his character, like he says he says facts, bro. Like he be talking some real stuff. But besides that, bro, this was heavily inspired by him. So please go sub to Academics. Y'all already know. If y'all don't already know who he is, I'm pretty sure most of y'all do. But nevertheless, yeah, this is highly inspired by him. I just kind of want to talk a little bit about it. So, one thing that I've always had a question about is, do we actually even care about albums anymore? Like that's always a big question as well. I don't feel like a lot of us even actually care about albums anymore either anyway, or at least a vast majority. I feel like a lot of us really just want music that vibes with us and just speaks to us in a sense, or vaguely speak to us in a sense. Like, I don't think people actually really care about substance anymore, which is, by the way, what you would get with an album. The albums, you have to give substance in a sense. And I say in a sense because there are definitely outliers as far as albums that, portrays this stuff. So, but most of an album is like it's getting into deeper topics. It's talking about things that make you either question things, or things that make you think or feel about something. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of people don't even care about to think about lyrics, or uh even be able to ponder on it too much. It's more or less like an abstract feeling of the song itself, granted given by the, it being enhanced by the producers, and then the artists themselves, and how they deliver lines, yada yada yada. But nevertheless, people don't even seem to be interested in substance in the first place now. You see, I think that how, when I sit back and just study this abroad, I see that us, as our generation, we see music as much more like an abstract painting rather than a, say, like a Renaissance painting or a Baroque painting, which have substance and meaning to them. I just think that this is also a reflection of how society is as a whole, in this sense of abstractness. But nevertheless, um, I think that artists don't even have an incentive to need to make a good album, or even to make an album at all, in all honesty. But, well, let's say, not say a good album, but an album at all, in honesty. Especially like newer rappers and stuff like that. And the reason why I think that is that because, well, they make more money on the singles and doing promotions and all that stuff and doing the marketing than doing a whole album rollout, which could hurt their reputation. Well, it's like, if it's a bad single, then it's like, oh, it's just a bad single. However, it's different when it comes to an album, because an album holds way more weight than a single would be. Like, if you listen to a single and you don't like it, well, it's just a single. You don't really care, in all honesty. Like, it's like, okay, it's just a single. However, if you listen to an album and it's not good, you're gonna question the artist's entire ability to be able to even rap, actually, or even be able to communicate effectively on his beats, or to execute on what his vision was for it. And so I don't think artists might even want to take the risk of it because it's less it's much more of a higher risk for them to do that actually. B is I think on the label side, well, they're making way more money doing singles and doing promotion. Why the heck would we even worry about an album anymore? If this is going to make us if this makes us 3 times more money than an album would, yo, of course, as a label, I'm going to want to do that. As a capitalist label, of course, I'm going to want to do that. That brings me in more money. More money is better. The more I can milk it out. And obviously, as you guys know from my other video, labels don't actually care about artists. They don't care about how good your music is to an extent. They only just care as long as it brings them money. Whatever brings them money is what's going to make them happy at the end of the day. Now, a question I do have for y'all actually is, when is the last time you guys ever actually listened to an album in this current state? Well, I guess in more recent times, other than say Playboy Cardi, a Tyler the Creator, a Kanye. I'm talking about much more newer artists as far as that. Like, when do we ever actually, when have we ever actually listened and just sit down and be able to listen to it multiple times? Even some of the older artists, like like Uzi's Pink Tape. Now I know in the older, in a past video, I was giving it so much praise, and I was like, "Oh, it's album of the year." Partly, I think that it was excitement for Uzi just dropping. But me like 2 months later from that, from when it or whenever it dropped, probably like 2 months after that or a month after that, hey yo, I didn't listen to Pink Tape again. I might have listened to probably one song, and that was probably like Patience or the Rock songs. Not all of them though. I didn't like all of them. Like I liked Werewolf. That was still a good song. But yeah, when's the last time have you actually ever listened to much newer artist albums and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go back to such and such album? Like, no, you're not even doing that actually. What you are tending to do more is you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna listen to their single. Why the heck would I listen to that album? It's trash. It's gonna be trash. You already know it's gonna be trash. So why even listen to it? And so much newer artists, I think, aren't gonna take that risk because of that. Because, well, think about it. It hurts their reputation as an artist, and it isn't as profitable than making a single and just marketing it pretty good. Like, the odds of them wanting to do that is going to be slim, in my opinion. And also, one of the other things I do want to talk about is that I think these artists, when they do want to drop an album, it's not actually like flushed out. It almost feels like it's kind of rushed in a sense. Like, it doesn't feel like it's meant to be an album. It doesn't have a feeling of an album. Like, some of the songs are good as singles, but they're not good as a collective. I just don't feel as if musicians nowadays, especially when it comes to the hip hop space, I don't feel as if they really care about it as much as, we used to like look and praise older albums and stuff like that by like the older artists that we grew up with, like a Kanye or a Future or, or 21 or a Drake. Like, we don't even care, or Migos, we don't even care about any of the stuff like that the newer artists are dropping. Like, if they announce an album, that's all honesty, it's gonna get hype probably depending on who the artist is. But at the end, once we listen to it, we're like, this isn't an album. What is this? This is trash. Like, this is not finished. And then we grow a disdain for the artists and being able to even produce an album or make an album. Like, we just don't even seem to get enjoyment from them even making albums anymore. We seem to be much more excited from them making singles at this point. Another thing I do want to talk about, and this is probably gonna be the last thing I actually want to talk about, is that let's be honest here. A lot of artists' singles are actually much more memorable than their actual album. Ooh, yeah. A lot of these daggone artists, their singles are way more memorable than their actual albums. I think a perfect example of that would be like, say like Summers is probably a perfect example of that. I can guarantee you most would not even remember a Summers. They might remember the name of the album, but they wouldn't remember some of the songs. They wouldn't remember most of it, if not all of it, unless it was a song that was already a single that just went into it. Another perfect example would be, look at Destroy Lonely's If Looks Could Kill. Do you guys remember how hype people were for that album to drop after No Stylist and everything? When that dropped, it got so much buzz and attention. But then maybe a week afterwards, people were just like, wait a minute. It's like they snapped back to reality and was like, wait, this is trash. I mean, this is not really a good album. Like, this doesn't even feel like an album. It feels like more or less like they're saying repeated songs. This doesn't even sound like an album. Nothing interesting happens. Nothing sonically different happens in it. It feels the same. The one thing I think I want to say is that I don't even think that artists even know how to create an actual album anymore. I don't think they even have the skills to create an actual album anymore. And that's crazy to me now. Now that I have to say this, because most of their album songs are just it's not memorable. Like, the minute once you hear it, it's like, oh, okay, it's cool. And after that, you don't even remember it after that. It just comes out of your mind. It doesn't actually have an impact on you. It's just more like fast food to say that. Yeah, it's more like fast food to your ears. It's good for the moment, and then after that, you don't really want it anymore. But all right, this is going to end the discussion for this video. Let me know, what do y'all think about this? Why do artists make better singles than they do albums? And what do y'all think about this? Like, do you guys think this will ever change, or is this just going to be how the state of music is going to be right now? Well, don't want to keep you guys held up. With all that being said, I love you, Dark Knights.
Baby, come and jump on it, and up on it. Let's do it. Ride it, bump on it in my saddle. Baby, come and jump on it.